Hey, this is a video about how to convert the Zoom files into MP3 files that we can publish on the web. I'm using the Audacity application. It is free. It's a little bit of a bazooka to kill a fly, but it does everything that I want it to do, and it does it well, and it's completely free. So that's that. We're going to download the files from Zoom. And I'm going to open one to work with. Now, there's a couple of things to actually you can kind of look at the before and after. Like here is the raw already processed 310 right here, 2025 310, but it comes in, let's see if we can see that. Yeah, as an MP4. Zoom records them as MP4s, and we're going to convert them to MP3s. And we're also going to edit them and trim them, and I'm going to show you all that. But this is how they arrive with a Greenwich GMT, Greenwich Mean Time 2025 0310, 10 p.m., 10:57 and 46 seconds is when the recording was stopped. It's important to realize that because you'll see most of these are 22, 23. Every once in a while, if we chat, if the meeting ends and later, or people chat into the night before they stop the recording, it'll flip over into 24 or the next day. Let me show you what that looks like. These are some I've already worked with. Yep, there's one. So you see GMT 2024 11:19 000 2.54. So that's like 2 minutes after midnight, like 12:02 and 54 seconds. So it's saying that it's on November 19th, but really the recording of the meeting was on November 18th. Okay, so we don't have to put a fine point on that. I just want you to be aware of that's how Zoom does things. Greenwich Mean Time may or may not leak over into the next day. But in this particular case, the one we just did was 310. We trimmed it. I took off the GMT. I kept the 2025 0310 hyphen step name. And that's the naming convention that we use throughout on the site. So I can always, if I just look in a file somewhere in a folder, it's easy to see that on the 24th of February 2025, we had a step 4 talk that's in this recording. So anyway, we're going to work with one we haven't worked with yet, and that is March 17th. So let's open that. And basically what we're going to get is everything that happened from the time we pushed the record button to the time that we exited the meeting. And you can see that, like, if you look on the right-hand side, I'll bet you like the Lord's Prayer happened somewhere in here. Because you can see the spike in audio. This is probably all the chitter chatter in the Zoom room after the meeting. So we're not going to be interested in publishing that on the web, right? And then in the beginning, we don't know exactly where we started the meeting. We push record, and then at some point the meeting starts. So let's find out. Let's just click in here at random and push play.
Housekeeping, we will be recording and publishing the audio portion of this meeting.
Okay, good. The meeting has started, but I usually try to, like, let's go back a little bit. You'll probably hear some chit chat.
Green eyes.
Yeah, that's just people in the meeting before the meeting. Roughly right here, the meeting has started.
Area 5.
No, that's still chitter chatter. So,
Good evening. Welcome everyone to the Simple Action.
okay, there's the beginning of the meeting. Good evening. But I usually don't do that. I usually fade in the recording right at the Serenity Prayer. So let's just see if this little gap, you see, it's pretty easy to see. There's a pause right here. Let's see if that's not the pause where the chairperson asked before the Serenity Prayer. Oh, I came in a little late. So now you can't see my keyboard, but I basically throughout, I use the shift key, and then I use the keyboard right or left arrows. Like if I hold down my right arrow, the up and down arrow doesn't do anything. But if I hold down my right arrow, it just scrolls. If I hold down my left arrow, it just scrolls. or I can go back and click in here and see. Let's see where we landed. Oops. Don't say oops. All right, we'll see where we landed. All right. Now it'll stay even though we push play. So I'm gonna hit the back arrow one more time just to see. All right, one more. Okay. So now even though we played that cursor is going to remain where we left it. I'll push play and prove that to you again. Okay. So that's exactly where we want to begin it. So what I'm going to do is hold down my shift key and then I'm going to move my left arrow. You can see the selection coming up, right? So now I've selected everything before God and I'm deleting it. Boom. Bye-bye. Let's press play. Okay, so there's the beginning. Now, I suspect that this is the Lord's Prayer at the end over here. Let's just check that. Amen. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over. You see my cursor? I'm going to move over just right before that noise gets big. And then I'm going to hold my shift key, select all that, delete. Then I can move back a couple just to confirm I got it all. Okay, all right, so now we've got the whole recording, right? We got the Lord's Prayer at the end and the Serenity Prayer at the beginning. So everything in the between is the AA meeting. That's definitely important, right? We're not trying to publish the chitter chatter and the stuff that happens before and after the meeting, just the meeting, right? So there's four things that happen in the middle that that we do special effects wise. So what I'm going to do is I'm just hitting my cursor anywhere in here. I'm hitting Control A, which you'll see that just selected the whole file. If I click in here, it deselects it. Control A. I don't know, on Mac it's something different, but let me show you. I could just as easily go up to the select menu and select all. You'll see that Control A is the keyboard shortcut. Select all. And then I want to do with select all, I want to do four things in this order. First, I want to normalize the recording. So we go into effect, and the effects are all in alphabetical order. So we're going to normalize. And I just accept the defaults here. Okay, the first two boxes are checked, negative 0.9 dB, apply. And watch what happens to the waveform. So you see it just normalizes it, makes it fill out that space a little more. And now with Control A still selected, the other effect that I do is truncate silence. All right, so what that's going to do is look for large gaps in the recording and trim them out. I've done a lot of trial and error with this, and here's what I find to be the most effective. This negative 20 dB, I think, is the default. I don't remember ever adjusting that. If the gap is 4 seconds or greater in duration, truncate the detected silence to 2 seconds. Truncate the tracks independently. I don't know. Like I say, I've done a lot of trial and error with this. You would think if you had a 2-second gap and you shortened that to 1 second, I think I started with something like a 1.5 second gap, shorten it to half a second, turns it into really choppy audio, and even 2 seconds down to 1 second, choppy. 4 seconds down to 2, at least it gets rid of the egregious gaps and truncates them to something less egregious, makes it more listenable. Anyway, 4 to 2, duration 4, truncate to 2, apply. That's done. Now, we'd be able to publish at this point pretty well. Normalize, truncate silence, start with the Serenity Prayer, finish with the Lord's Prayer. There's a couple things that I do just to make it a little sweeter. On the left-hand side, I go back to the beginning of the audio file, right? I move my cursor. See my cursor moving? Okay. And then I hold down my shift key and I do like 4 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably won't even be able to see it, but there's a little tiny sliver in here that's been selected. And I do effect, fade in. And then back here, I go to the end of the audio file and then come back 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, just a tiny little sliver. You can even do 5, 6. Hold the shift key back. You're making a small selection, effect, fade out. Okay. And then that just basically gives it a little gentler departure here. Let's just see.
That's and the way the sound is communication.
Okay, so that little chime that you heard was my phone. Actually, I'm getting reminded I've got a meeting in a few minutes, so I'm gonna have to wrap this. So anyway, so now we got a file that's ready to convert and export. So here's what we do now. File, export audio. Now you'll see that the format is already set on MP3. That's what I have it set to. The location, the folder, that'll be wherever you want to put it on your own machine. And then you'll see that it takes that default name .mp3, right? So what I want to do is I want to kill the GMT and then I like the date hyphen, and then I'm going to select all of this in between the .mp3. I want to keep that. Now, usually I know what I'm doing before I do this. What did we pull up? 317. So we've got 317. We got Alex and Jeff on steps 8 and 9. So I'm going to do step 8, 9. All right. So I want this to say year, month, day, hyphen, step 8, 9 .mp3. And then the reason why I check the do the metadata, you'll have to, on your machine, you'll have to set up a little template and stuff. I've already got mine set up where you can add and save and load and all that kind of stuff. Basically, I've got this set up so that it'll just happen. Simple Actions Group is the artist name. The year is 2025. Step 8, 9. Hyphen, space. You can use spaces in here. We got Alex and what are we saying? Jeff? Yeah, remember, Alex and Jeff. Alex. I happen to know that that's Alex B. and Jeff S. I do these in alphabetical order too. The names, unless it's male, female, then I always put the female first. This metadata is important. We don't really use it for anything right now, but in the future, as technology develops, I can totally see having a little algorithm that searches metadata and returns results. So this is sort of our little investment in the future. Anyway, there can be punctuation in here. It's not a big deal. I usually don't bother with it. Steps 8, comma 9, who cares? Space hyphen Alex B and Jeff S. All right, metadata is in place. Click OK. I kind of like these. I don't know why we don't have stereo. Stereo standard is fine. Sometimes I beef that up. Yeah, standard is fine. Export range, entire project. Boom, export. Then Bob's your uncle. Basically, we're going to end up with an MP3 file that we can upload to the web. But again, the file name is as shown with no dots, no dots or spaces or anything like that. Just 2025-0317 hyphen step 89 .mp3. And that's been rendered and we are all done. Thank you.